Hello, 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 and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. And I figured out why the music didn't work last week, and it is better. So we had like intro music. Yay! So today's topic is one that we've kind of been talking around, but I'm going to talk about it very specifically. And today I'm going to talk about fear. Fear for everyone is an insidious emotion. It can steal, excuse me, it can steal your dreams. It can keep you from doing things, whether it's taking an action, so keep you from taking an action or keep you from not taking an action because we're afraid. But, kind of going in line with some of the things we've been talking about, negative thinking and being mindful and stuff, fear typically underlies negative thinking. It activates our fight, flight, or fawn response, fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses. And it keeps us in unhealthy patterns. Because when we're afraid to take action, or if our pattern is to take action because something happens, the fear makes it so that we're unable to stop. So what is fear? Why do we have fear? And the most common things is, we're afraid of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. And so we're afraid of it. But then the other big thing that brings fear into our lives, which is what really kind of falls in with the mindfulness stuff, is that we don't want to repeat a previous experience. So if you grew up in a toxic household and you knew that if I do this, I'm going to get in trouble and get some kind of punishment, then you stop doing it, And so when you become an adult, you tend to not take that action because deep in your mind, deep in your subconscious, you know that if I do that, I'm going to be punished. And many times we don't even know that that's what's going on inside of us. We just know it's like, well, I'm not going to take that action, or I'm not going to change what I'm doing. But it's because that fear is sitting deep inside of us from something that happened to us perhaps years and years and years ago. So when we are afraid, it manifests in a couple of different ways. I already talked about the lack of action, but for many people, it is the cause of anxiety and in particular worry. People that are worriers tend to be afraid of what might or might not happen. And I keep talking about paying attention to what's going on in our inner state. And fear is an emotion that we can start to identify. And what really helps is if we can identify fear as fear. Now, sometimes fear actually feels more like resistance, like you need to do it, but you don't because there's resistance in your system. For some people, it shows up as procrastination. But that is, again, one of the ways that fear can show up. We can just be plain scared. So you're probably going, okay, so if I'm afraid, what can I do? What can I do to shift that inside of me? So and some of you are probably going to laugh at this story. So years ago, and I would like to put a date on this, I'm going to say 2005. I I was already doing radio interviews, so I was already being a guest on shows. And I get this internal message that said, it's time. And I was like, okay, I'm curious, time for what? And the message said to host a radio show. And I was flabbergasted because it was like that was like so not on my radar and not something that I was even interested in doing because I was afraid. Because I was afraid of like coming here and getting online, at the time it was just audio, and carrying a show, whether I had a guest or not. And, I didn't know, but I could feel the fear. I could feel the resistance. And I knew it. I knew that it was just fear. And so I just kind of worked through the fear. It's kind of like, okay, well, you know what you need to do and you're afraid, but you're just going to do it. Sometimes we just have to knuckle under and do the thing that we're afraid of, because obviously years later, here I am hanging out with you doing these live streams by myself. I don't even have a freaking guest, which was a lifesaver. But if you acknowledge the fear, sometimes you can take it and go, like out of yourself and put it in a chair over there and go, hey, fear, okay, I'm afraid and I have fear, but it's not inside of me. And I've moved it over to there and it's just better. So by acknowledging that fear, it might make it so that you can keep going and doing the thing that the fear has been trying to control. Said in a different way, it gives you the opportunity to make a different choice, a more healthy choice, a choice that maybe spirit is pushing you along to do, but you are too afraid to take the steps and take the action to make happen. And sometimes, you make those changes or you make different choices. So you make the old choice and you live in a certain pattern because you have fear that if I do something different, there's going to be some kind of repercussion. But when you look at it as a choice, sometimes the choice might be kind of white knuckling to do the thing, but it's a different choice. It's a different choice. And we always think, well, if I do this, I'm going to go from the frying pan into the fire. And maybe that is the case, but you did something different. You had the opportunity to see if it's going to work. And many times people that work through that fear and make those really hard choices will look back in retrospect and realize that it was the best choice and the best decision they had ever made. And so my question to you is, what do you fear? And if you do find that you have fear in your life, what can you do to change it and move forward into doing something that is for you and is healthier and will make you and your life be happier? So that's it for today. Oh, there's my little notes. Anyway, I'm going to go through my little announcements. I'm going to say hi to everybody, and then I'm going to open it up for readings. So as always, if you would like to get a more in-depth psychic reading from me, whether it is a medical intuition evaluation, intuitive counseling, energy healing, you need somebody to talk to, you need a shoulder to cry on, you're working through some stuff and you need someone to bounce ideas off of, drop me a line. We'll set up a time for an appointment. And while you're at soulhealer.com, please don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get informed, every Thursday morning that there's a live stream tonight. So please go ahead and do that. And just, if you want to follow me, I am Dr. Rita Louise Live on Facebook. That's Dr. Rita Louise Live on Facebook. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. And I have decided that if you're listening on a platform where you're not able to interact with the show, going to the YouTube channel is probably the easiest, because you can just go to Just Energy Radio on YouTube and click the live button, and you go in the chat thing and you can interact, get a reading, hang out, say hi, whatever you want to do. This show is also streamed on Twitter. It's Dr. Rita Louise on X. It's on X. And then also on Rumble, it's Psychic Doc on Rumble. And so while in my book, wait, I got to line this up. Dang, it was me all along. I don't specifically talk about fear too much. I mean, there's a little bit, but it really helps you to kind of work through that process of understanding what's going on inside of you. So if you find that there's a lot of fear in your life, then maybe the understanding and the tools and techniques that are covered in the book will help you move forward to have a happier and healthier life. Okay, so let's see. There's already 19 comments, so I'm going to say hi to everybody and then move on to doing little readings. So Veronica says, love this music. Hi, Veronica. Veronica, that intro music, not the one with the clock, but the da, 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 da. I've been using that since I did that very first show. And that music has stuck with me. And I always am kind of like jamming in the background while it's playing, that you can't see. Chris says hi. I look forward to this every week. Hey, Chris, tell that man of yours that I miss talking to him. Veronica says, yes, great topic. Marco says, oh my God, the hair. Marco, you know how to make me smile. Hi, Miss Amy. Love seeing you here. All right. Otto, Eric says hi. And then he says, what is shame? Is it fear? Okay, actually, that's a great question, Otto, and I want to come back to that. All right, hang on. Because that is a great question, and I do have an answer for you. I mean, the answer is essentially yes, but I have more. Hey, Sin's in the house. Hey, Sin. She says, I was a baby in 2005. It's like, yeah, but you're hanging out with old people. Margie's here. Hey, Margie. Denise. Hi, Denise. Bradley. Whoo, made it. That's okay. Whoo, I made it too, because I had, by the time I actually sat in front of my computer, I had 13 seconds. 13. Anyway. Amy says, one of my favorite sayings is fear and feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a great one. Mark Eddie, you made it before like the last 2 minutes of the show. Hey, Nina, so nice seeing you. Let's see. Everybody's just saying hi to each other. So Veronica's saying hi. Amy's saying hi. Marco's saying hi. Bradley would like a reading. Sin's back with the guy. So Sin, we have a new format. Marco says, Rita has let's go clubbing hair. I love it. Well, Marco, and you'll appreciate this. So, I mean, I think I've talked about it on here that I have a project house. So today was mudding day. And so when I got home, there was like little white things all on my hair, and I had mud on my face and mud on my clothes. And, so this is the best I could do. Hey, Yvonne, nice seeing you. Sin says, new format. Uh-oh. So Sin, it's really not bad. It's actually a good format. So, and I'll explain the format because I'm going to address Otto's question, and then I'm going to take Bradley first. So basically the format is, if you would like a reading, I'm doing card readings, and all you have to do is say, I would like a reading, and then pick a number from 1 to 3. And that's how many times I'll shuffle the cards and then pull a card, cut the deck and pull a card for you. And so that's all you have to do. And I know you want a reading, so all I need is a number, 1 through 3, and I will do a reading for you. Okay, so Otto. So shame is basically fear, but it is fear about like your personal stuff. So in my book, here, wait a minute. I'm all over the place today. So I had people in my house and I like actually clean my house. I clean my kitchen table off, which is where I do the broadcast. And so I had to like take all my books and crap that I have laying around on it and put it away. So in this book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, when I decided I wanted to write a book, Spirit says you have to tell your story, which I resisted because I didn't want to do it. And but I couldn't move forward. I wasn't getting any other information. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can write it. And then the follow-up message was, and you have to put it in the book, which brought up all of this shame in me. I mean, I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional family, and I just kind of lay out some of the crap that I had to put up with growing up, you know, and it's definitely the condensed version. And, you know, and people don't tell their story. They don't talk about, you know, their husband or wives or alcoholics, or, you know, they're in a situation where there's domestic violence, or, you know, they grew up in a traumatic situation. You know, we don't share those personal kinds of things because there is shame, because we don't want other people to look at us differently or look down at us. For whatever reason, because we feel that there's something wrong with us, or we did something bad, or, you know, again, that they'll look down at us. But I have to tell you, it's like I wrote it, I put it in the book, and it has been one of the most liberating things I've ever done, because now I just talk about it. It's kind of like, you know, it's in black and white. It's in print. You can go get this story anywhere. So why should I run from it? And why should I cover it up and have shame around it? So Otto, I hope that makes sense to you. And if you have a follow-up question on that, please ask, because that was a great question. That was a great question. Okay, so I'm going to start with Bradley, and then, wow, Sin, you're fast. And then we'll go on to Sin and go from there. All right, Bradley, let's see what's going on in your life today. Hopefully it's like rainbows and unicorns and good stuff like that. All right, he gave me a number, but I don't remember. Bradley Haymark. All right, you're way too fast for me. All right, Bradley, we're not really fun. 2. Okay, there you are, 2. Okay, here's your 2. Okay. All right, so here's your card. Nice card. So Bradley, I get the impression that you have made a decision on I'm going to say project. You know, I think you pulled this same card last week, actually, or I pulled this same card for you last week. You know, and I just feel like you, with relationship to this thing, have been in the flow and been in the groove. And I feel like things are moving forward and you're receiving the information and insights. I feel like there's a lot of new growth happening from this. And I feel like there has been some unexpected blessings. And maybe, you know, because I feel like I talked about all this last week. But the new piece is I feel like there's been some unexpected blessings that you have started noticing because you have been moving forward on this path. So let me know if that makes sense to you and if that's what's going on, please. All right, Sin. let's see what you have going on. All right, Sin, new format, like a reading. So Sin says, I'll go with 3. All right, Sin, so let me just clear these cards real quick. And then we'll do a 3 for you. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right, interesting. So this is the card that came up for you. Okay, interesting. So Sin, this is what I'm feeling. I just get the impression that you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, wanting to go forward, wanting these things to happen. I want, and you put a lot of your energy, like third chakra energy, into making these things happen, but they're not. And what I'm feeling for you is that what they would like for you to do is to kind of chill and kind of relax, because it's being counterproductive. You know, it's almost like there's so much anxiety and so much worry and so much stress about doing this and getting here and having whatever this thing is, that it is really taking you out of the flow, taking you out of your own energy. And I just feel like there have been some, I'm going to say, universal energetic consequences tied to that, and that nothing's really working right, or not, they're not working the way that you think they should. You know, so slow down, stop, take a breath, and allow. I'm just going to leave it with that word. Allow. Stop trying to force it and let it do what it's going to do, and let it just happen. Okay. So Yvonne wanted a reading and she would like a 2. All right, Yvonne. And I'm just kind of mixing these up a little better. Okay. All right, 2. So 1, 2. All right. And this is the card that came up for you. I got like glare going on. Okay. Okay, so Yvonne, and I'm going to be a little specific here, and please let me know if this is hitting, because it seems a little specific. But I'm feeling like you let something go, let somebody go, and like kind of feel bad on the inside and a little bit guilty about what's going on. And you are in the process of releasing and letting that go. But I feel like the choice and that decision was a really good one, because I feel like it's giving you the opportunity to kind of start from scratch, to reassess what's going on. And I feel like in the big picture, it was a really good decision, because whatever was going on in this other situation, it was just kind of holding back your energy. And I feel like your energy just feels freer and it feels lighter. And even though there's the guilt, I feel like you can already see this new beginning happening. So please let me know if that's making sense to you. Okay, so let's see. All right, Amy says, last week was a good one. Would love a reading, just one shuffle. Okay, Amy. And thanks about last week. It was a good show, wasn't it? But I really kind of like this fear topic. Okay, so let's see. So this is your card. Okay, interesting. So I feel like it's kind of a two-parter answer. One, I feel like you have shifted gears and you're really on working on nurturing yourself. One of the things you're showing me is you finally, maybe it's just a today thing or, you know, a period thing, that you've moved everybody's energy out of your space and you're saying, okay, but what about me? And you're just taking care of me. But I think the bigger part is that you moved everybody else's energy out of your space. And I find that really good. But the other part that I wanted to bring up is that I want to validate that you have really been doing good at, and I'm going to say, listening to your guides, you know, in listening, you know, from wherever that information comes from, and being attentive to it and reacting to it in a positive way, you know, because I feel like it's working. It's working, especially moving everybody else's energy out of your space. That's the best part. Okay, so, all right, let me clear these bad boys. And again, if it makes sense, if you have feedback, I would love to hear what you have to say down below. Okay, so Veronica says she would like a reading number one. Number one. So my niece does a live stream, and actually she's probably still streaming. And so many times before my show, I go and watch her show, and her business is called Soul Expressions. I helped her pick it out. So we're like soul sisters. We're like really soul sisters. And she sells crystals. So she does a live stream selling crystals. And so if somebody buys a crystal, you know, via the live stream, she always goes, in your basket. She's really funny, like kind of weird. Okay, weirder than me, but her dad, my brother, is weirder than me, but I'm already weird, but she's pretty funny. Anyway, Veronica. Well, that's interesting. I just pulled the exact same card for you. So let's see what this has to say for you. Well, see, and I'm just getting like kind of the opposite on here, that stopping, kind of like what I was saying to Sin about stopping and slowing down and paying attention and listening to what's going on is what your body is really wanting. I feel like you have a lot of frustration, and you know, I don't want to really call it anger, but anger and frustration are both liver-related emotions. That things aren't moving forward the way you want, you know, blah, blah, blah. I hear a lot of blah, blah, blah with negative commentary to it. And I would like to suggest that you slow down and maybe start paying attention to that. Maybe stop trying to push things forward, and you too, and allow things to happen instead of trying to make things happen, because it's not your time, it's not your agenda, it's God's time and God's agenda, and you know, he, she, it, whatever is going to make it happen in their time, not ours. Okay, so let's see. All right, so Verona wanted to know, can we ask a question or just let the cards talk? I mean, I think I would rather just have the cards talk, although Otto asked about the shame, and so that wasn't really a reading, that was more like informational. So if you have a informational question, I will be happy to entertain that. If it's a follow-up to something I say in a reading, please do feel free to ask the follow-up. I'm game with that. I don't know, Veronica. You're asking me hard stuff. Okay. All right. So Otto says, so shame is a fear of showing who we are or keeping the family secret, sort of. Exactly. Exactly. That's usually where shame comes from, is, we don't want to expose ourselves. So yeah, exactly. All right. So Bradley said yes. And he says, yes, it is. Thank you, my lady. Excellent, Bradley. All right. So conversation. So Sin says, kind of why I'm trying to slow down. Okay. So just do it, Sin. And slowing down can be a practice all by itself. So maybe you can catch yourself. I've talked a lot about negative thinking and negative thoughts on this show, and controlling the negative thoughts and shifting the negative thoughts. And for me, I've been very successful in my mind of getting those under control. But now I find, now that I have this project house, that my mind goes to, okay, so what am I doing today? Okay, I'm going to mud this wall, and then I'm going to sand over here, and I'm going to sweep this, and blah, 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 blah. What about those kitchen cabinets? Well, what about this? And there's a lot of what abouts happening, but they're not bad thoughts, but it makes you not be in the flow because you're kind of in this over anxious place. And so that's something I've been working on, is even though it's not a negative thought, it's kind of like a thought that's hyperventilating, and slowing that down. And so Sin, it's not that it's an on or off thing, it's a practice. And when you catch yourself trying to make things happen, that's when you need to cut in and interfere with that pattern and say, no, I need to slow down. And then she said, and relax away, something told me. Well, and if that's the message you're receiving, is to relax, then listen to it, because you'll be happier. Hi, Mary. If you'd like to get a reading, just, write, I want a reading, and a number of 1 through 3. And if I get to it, I will do the reading. All right, so Sin wants to know if I can ask about a past life, what I did. You can ask, not sure what I'm going to think. So try. Okay. Okay, Yvonne said, yes, let go of a couple of people, and I do feel lighter, more hopeful too. Thanks, Rita. Yay, Yvonne. I'll bet, because I feel like it was kind of a relief for you. And then Veronica says, yes, great show. Thank you. And then Marco says, Rita is awesome, and I have good hair, Marco. And then Mary says, oh, are we reading cards? How exciting. Yeah, Mary, I kind of did a show on reading cards, and just did card readings for the show. And it was just so popular, I have just changed the format to that. So if you would like a reading, let me know. All right, and then Marco says, Rita needs more bandwidth, low-res video. I need Rita in 4K. So Marco, let me know, because the reason, so I have 2 routers in my house, and the videos are on my desktop in a different room. And so I access that computer, but it's a little dicey. How's that? And so when I switch to the router that's much closer, which would give me obviously better signal strength, the videos wouldn't play. So that's what happened last week. So I'm back on the router that's far away. Now I can remedy that. So if I'm coming through a little weird and choppy, please let me know, because I think I can fix that. And Veronica says, yeah, 4K hair. All right, so Amy says, definitely spot on. I'm learning to literally stop whatever I'm doing when I get a message. Say I hear I hear you. Process the thought and shift to take action on the message. I just trust the message. Isn't that totally awesome, Amy? I mean, I've been really working on that. And sometimes it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to go do that. You know, back to this house project, you know, I put out that, you know, I was putting a pedestal sink into the bathroom. Not that it's there, it's sitting in my living room, like this house living room. And was putting out the energy, and I'm just not finding what I want, not finding what I want. And there's this one that I really want, but it's $1,200, and there's no way in hell I'm spending $1,200 on a pedestal sink. And so for some reason, it's like, let's go check Facebook Marketplace and see if there's any sinks there. Dang, the sink that I wanted, that $1,200 sink, $75. It was $100. She marked it down to $75. Came with the hardware. I had to drive to Dallas to go get it, but I was like, it is worth the drive because that is the sink I wanted. It was like, thank you. So make sure that when you get the message and you take action and it turns out totally awesome or even like kind of awesome, say thank you. And Veronica says, pal, great read. Thanks, Veronica. Eric says, thank you. Amy says, thank you. All right. Janine? Is it Janine? I hope it's Janine. First time here, you're giving a vibe of authenticity. I'm a seer, starseed priestess at 43 and never had someone read me. And this life has been quite peculiar. Good to synchronistically lead here. So, well, I'm going to give you a reading right now. And let's just see. And you didn't put in a number because most people put in a number of 1 through 3 of how many times they want me to shuffle for them. I'm just going to give you a 3 because 3 is like the best number anyway. And let's just see what comes up. And, you know, my integrity is really all I have to give and bring to the table. And I just say what they tell me to say because it's really not about me. How's that? Okay. All right, Janine, I hope that's the card that came up for you. And okay, this is interesting. So one of the things that you're showing me, you know, like you made this comment, and I'm not like keeping it to this category. You know, you're a seer, starseed, priestess. And one of the things that I'm feeling for you, and this has been going on for a little while at this point, like this last year or so, that you've really been working on integrating all of you. Like there's this piece over here and this piece over here and this group of friends over here and this, and you would interact with them almost with a different mask on for each situation, each thing. But I feel like one that was like taking way too much energy, and you've really been kind of pulling them back and integrating them into you so that you can be more authentic. You can be more whole, that you're just coming from this place of centeredness and then interacting from that hub with all of these areas. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat on that. I feel like where it was before, you were kind of in this learning phase and gathering information, but you kind of completed that cycle. And now the tentacles that were out looking and touching and feeling are coming back home to nest. So please, Janine, if that makes sense, and I'm saying your name right, let me know what you think. Okay, moving on. Oh, and thank you for coming, and I hope you come back because I really have a lot of fun. And I think the people that are here have a lot of fun. All right, Marco says, wow, fantastic. Have you ever noticed Marco never gets a reading? And then Veronica says, I'm a driver and it's hard to chill. Yeah, I believe that. All right, Marco, I'm not even gonna read that. All right, so Mary says, I want a reading number 3. Okay. See, Mary, one of the things that changing to this format made it is that people don't have to come up with questions. And I think that that was a little bit intimidating for some people. So now you can just say, I want a reading, and you get a reading. All right. All right, so let's see, what do you got? All right, so that's the card that came up for you. So Mary, I'm just kind of feeling like you have like some worry or anxiety going on. I'm feeling it in my stomach. So I don't know if you have some kind of a stomach issue going on, you know, like a little ulcery kind of thing. I don't know. I'm feeling discomfort in my stomach, like it's acidic. You know, and I just got the statement, you know, I just want it to stop, you know, I just want it to be done, and I just want it to be over. You know, and I want to say that things always do change and things always do process. I'm feeling like for you, this cycle is just about ending. Let's see, today's Thursday. Like maybe another week and things will calm back down. Let me know what you think. You know, this just been kind of like weird. I don't want to say weird readings, but I just feel like you know, I'm kind of out of my comfort zone, and I'm just saying what they tell me, and you know, it's not necessarily making sense to me. But let me know if there's just been like too much stuff going on in your life and you just wanting it to end. I think you've been doing great as far as dealing with it and coping with it, but I do feel like there's a few more days left. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. And Marco says the video is really bad. Sorry. Okay, so, but that's okay because I can move those video files to somewhere else and work off the other modem. So that will be resolved next week, hopefully. I mean, you know, you know, with some stuff you just don't ever even know. So, and so Chris says, I'm not seeing much, weird and choppy for sure, very blurry. First time this week. Huh. All right. I got nothing. I mean, if it's on Facebook, I got, you know, like a 24-hour restriction on my account for, I don't even know what. Well, look at that. I must have been having a psychic moment because Janine said 3 and I gave her a 3. Ah. All right. So David's here. Hi, Rita. David here in Melbourne, Florida. Like a reading, been doing 3 shuffles. Okay, Dave. Hope things are going better there. All right, Dave, let's see what you have going on. It's interesting because we're getting repeat cards, and I give these things a pretty good shuffle, and then I cut them and pull the top card. So that's your card. So, Dave, I'm figuring you were not here for the beginning of the show, and the topic I spoke on was fear. And so if you have the opportunity, maybe listen to the beginning of the show where I talk on that topic. I mean, I just sense a lot of fear around you and fear in your space. You know, I don't really have a solution. And I'm going to say it this way because I feel like you don't really have a whole lot of information. And so maybe what I'm supposed to tell you is that, you know, if you want to move through this, if you want to move out of this, then you need to start, like, you know, excuse me, I'm going to say pounding some pavement, making some phone calls, and figuring out what you need to do to move yourself out of this discomfort, fear, unknown place that you're in right now. Okay. And so Janine said, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And then she says, "Yes." That's because I just do what I do. All right, and then Mary says, "It's the same here." So I'm guessing the choppy thing, you know, so I don't know. You know, it could be on my end, it could be on that end. I just don't know sometimes. And then Janine says, "Working on my Leo North node, and it's a twin lifetime." Ah. And then she says, "Will do." And then Sin says, "I have fun here." Well, Sin, I'm glad you have fun, because this is like a fun place to be. And then she says, I don't know what that was. And then Janine said, "That was on point and motivating." Okay, thank you. And then Mary says, "It does make sense. Yes, and thanks." And then Dave says, "Wow." Not sure what you're wowing, but okay. Okay, so there's about 10 minutes left. So is there anybody that is hiding out there that hasn't asked for a reading yet? If they want to ask for a reading. Veronica, I know you said you had a question. And so since I don't have anybody wanting a reading, if you'd like to ask a question, or anybody that's here that would like to ask a question. So Dave says, "Right on the mark. I will start the calls tomorrow, as I am pretty lost here in Florida. My brother is stable at the moment, and I'm living in my van." Okay, but great. Thank you, Dave. And, you know, I feel like once you start taking action on your behalf, that things will start moving forward. So, perfect. And Veronica said, "Yes, it is fun." So, all right, so Sin said, "What was I like in my past life and my talent?" Okay, so I'm not going to do a card reading for that, Sin. Past life. Okay, so, you know, I believe that we have multiple past lives. Okay, so this is just really weird, and it's kind of not going away. But you keep showing me this image that you were a woman and you were a snake charmer, you know, or like did this act. It was an act where you had snake handlers, and you had this like little outfit on. And, you know, I would almost assume that it wasn't in the Western world. Kind of hard for me to tell. It's kind of a blurry image. You know, but the sad part is that in that lifetime, it's like you really didn't like yourself. You know, so I don't know if in this lifetime as well, Sin, that there are some self-worth issues going on that have been coming to the surface. You know, usually a lifetime will show up for me if it's something that you're actively working on and actively processing. You know, so either you are in the midst of a bunch of self-worth issues, or you're in the process of addressing your self-worth issues. So I hope that makes sense. And Dave says, I will. All right, so Veronica wants to know, is it a smart move to have the surgery next week? Not time-wise, but surgery-wise. All right. So, Veronica, can you tell me what kind of surgery? Would that be okay? All right, I'm going to go down to this. So Sin says, kind of finding myself as in what I want to do. Yeah, sound like I was an actor. I mean, you were definitely a performer. You know, the word circus came up, but it wasn't really like a circus. But that would be kind of the closest thing I could think of. Okay. So I'm kind of waiting on Veronica because I would like to give a very more specific answer once I know like what kind of body part they're going to be working on. Even if you could just tell me the body part, that would work for me. Bladder. Ah, okay. Well, then that would make sense for what I'm seeing. You know, so in Chinese medicine, the bladder has to do with fear. Ooh, and we just talked about fear today. So I'm feeling like you're going to get a 70% benefit out of it. I mean, I think it's going to be good. You know, I kind of get the impression that you kind of exhausted a whole lot of other paths. And so if this is going to get you into a place where you're more balanced, then I think it would be worthwhile. So how's that? All right, so Robert, would you like a reading? And if you would, give me a number 1 through 3. 1 through 3. I mean, 70% benefit is pretty good. So I think that that is good and worthwhile. Anybody else have a question or a dog? Do you want a reading? Or whatever? 1 through 3. So I'm just trying to think what else. I don't know. I got nothing. Okay, so hey, Mark Eddie, are you still there? Did you want a reading? You know, these people come in and then they just kind of like disappear into the background, and you know, all you have to do is like say hi and say you want a reading. And Veronica says, yay, thank you. And Janine says, blessings and thank you again. And Janine, I hope you come back and, you know, join our little party. And Sin wants to know, was I very miserable in my past life? And Sin, I don't think you were miserable, you know, in that kind of way. I think that, you know, that's how your life was, and you know, were kind of challenged, but you really didn't know anything else. So, and yes, you were a woman. All right, so I guilted him in it. Robert Blind Dog Cook, and no, not like, well, not really dogs. I mean, I can, but I don't guarantee them. Would like a reading, and he would like a number 3. Number 3. Number 3. Three. All right. Hey, dog, when are you going to come by the house? I have work for you. Okay. All right. And this is the card that came up for you. Interesting. So I don't know if you got like a new piece of equipment that is kind of taking your game to the next level, or you have come up with a new project that's kind of taking your game to the next level. But I feel like your game is moving to the next level, and you're really kind of excited about it. You know, it's almost like, you know, something's come in that you didn't really consider before, or a new approach, and there's just a lot of excitement on your part, and it will take you to the next level. So let me know if that makes sense. Okay, so Parker's Paradise. I want to send my love, Dr. Rita. I had a reading from you a few months ago. Do you have anything that could help me in the now moment moving forward from my guides? Thank you, Jen. All right, Jen. I'm going to shuffle the cards for you because that's kind of the format I'm doing these days. And I'm going to clear them, and then I'm going to shuffle 2 for you. All right, 1, 2. Okay, so what came up for you was a mass card. So mass cards usually indicate someplace that your energy is stuck, or you're not really willing to look at what's sitting behind it. And so I usually will pull cards until I feel like they've cleared, because this is what's sitting underneath everything or wanting to come in. Not too bad. I've done it where I've had like 10 to 15 cards before they cleared. So let me just, so this was the one that was on the bottom that I felt like the energy shifted. So that's the one I'm going to read. Okay, interesting. So what I'm feeling for you is that there's this missing, this longing, this, you know, I'm going to say loss. I really feel like it's tied more to a person as opposed to a thing or work. I mean, it could be work that you're missing the people, you know, but I'm just feeling like you're, you know, maybe more bottom line that you're wanting to connect or feel more connected to people. I just feel like you're feeling a little bit lonely and isolated. And the question is, well, what do I need to do to shift that? You know, and it's interesting because remember, it was underneath the mass card. I get the impression that you have kind of like created these rules that you live by, and some of those rules are getting in the way of you having that part for yourself, you know, and in that happiness in your life, or being able to satisfy that need and that desire. So let me know if that makes sense. Oh, we're like almost out of time. Well, we're out of time, but I'm going to stay here for a couple of seconds. No more readings. So just to, so Robert said work. Okay. All right. So Denise says, I'm good. Had a reading last week. Just listening tonight. Hi, Denise. Thank you. And Janine says, how about more insights? Is that okay? Why do I have a twin, or whatever you want to call it? Okay, so done doing readings for tonight. You can come back and ask next week if there's time. And then Robert says, cool, there's a great and student. So I'm assuming that that means there's new studio stuff. Sweet. And then Mary's like, great show. Thanks for everything. Well, thank you all for coming to the show tonight. And as always, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me because you think that I'm awesome and I can give you some deeper insights than what you can glean from a one card reading, then please go to my webpage, soulhealer.com, and schedule a time with me. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. But then, join my Facebook group, Dr. Rita Louise Live. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Dr. Rita Louise on X, or Psychic Doc on Rumble. So until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. I will see you next time, and be blessed.